You may think that being rich isn't for you, but becoming rich is actually pretty easy as long as you know how to get there. Imagine being plopped in the middle of the woods and all you can see are trees. You might spend years lost in the forest thinking that there's no way out. But now imagine that someone told you that civilization was just 1 mile south of where you're standing and they gave you a map. Then you would get out in less than 20 minutes. And that's how it works for most people who want to get rich. All they need is a little guidance to go in the right direction to achieve success. And today, I'm going to be your guide because my name is Sean and I make money easy. My wife and I are financially free and we spend our time traveling the world and living off the passive income that we get from our investments. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys the 5 simple steps that will make you rich. Now, the first step to being rich is actually a pretty weird one, and that's just to sit down and think about what being rich actually means to you. And you might be thinking, well, it's obvious. I want $1 million in the bank account, or I want to sip Mai Tais at the beach every single day. But that's the thing. Being rich means something different to every single person. Some people may enjoy going out every single day, whereas some people may hate the beach and rather stay indoors. So just think about what would you do with your life if you didn't have to go to work every single day for the rest of your life. How would you spend your free time? Would you spend more time with your friends and family? Would you play video games till 3 a.m. every single night? Or maybe you might pick up a hobby like painting or gardening. So for me, being rich meant being able to hang out with my friends, my family, and my wife as much as I could. I enjoy traveling to new places, experiencing new things, meeting old friends, and making new ones. Financial freedom to me meant enjoying life and experiencing as much as possible with the limited amount of time that I have here on earth, instead of being set to a confined schedule that I didn't enjoy every single day. But what does being rich not mean to me? It doesn't mean I have to drive the fanciest cars, or wear the nicest clothes, or have the fanciest jewelry, or live in the biggest mansions. Now, don't get me wrong, those things are really nice, but they don't mean that much to me, but they might matter to you, and that's totally okay. The key is to just understand what being rich means to you so that you can have a clear goal of where you're going. Because if your dream is to drive super nice cars like Lamborghinis and Rolls Royces and Bentleys, then you're gonna have to save and do a lot more work than I had to do to get to where I am. Just having that goal and knowing where you be is the first step to getting rich. Now, the second way to become rich is to embrace delayed gratification. Be patient, have discipline, and realize the bulk of your net worth is actually going to grow because of compound interest and not from your own efforts. And here's the thing, being patient doesn't mean just praying to the universe and hoping that you're going to win the lottery someday, or that you're going to have a huge windfall that'll just drop in your lap. And it's also not about just playing the victim card when things don't work out in your favor. You do have to do some work, because if you don't get that right, then it's going to slow you down and impede your progress for many years. What delayed gratification actually is just good impulse control. Because there are people who are making great salaries out there, but they don't have that great impulse control, so when they see something they want, they buy it immediately, which means that they're not saving and investing regularly. And even worse, some people are buying these kind of things with high interest credit cards or personal loans, knowing full well that they're not going to be able to pay that off at that month. So instead of just paying the price on that one item, they're paying even more because of the interest or installment payments. But if you have the discipline to not just go out and buy anything you see, or if you're good about putting an item on a wish list and then waiting 6 months before you buy something, then you can avoid blowing your money on stuff that you don't actually need. And some people even think that being a millionaire is not for them, and that the only way they're going to be one is by winning the lottery. So instead of saving any extra money or investing it, they're taking that money and buying the lottery tickets or gambling it. But in reality, the true consistent way to make money is to invest it and let the compound interest take over time. Now, a very simple way to do that, and invest in something like the S&P 500, which tracks the top 500 companies in the United States, it typically grows between 8 to 10% every single year. Obviously, some years go down, but some years go up to 20%. So on average, it's around 10. Now, 10% a year is obviously not that exciting. Like if you put $100 into it, you get $10 extra next year. But that's the thing about compound interest. It goes exponentially. And at first, it's going to be a very flat line, and then it'll really kick in. So as an example, let's say you invested $1,000 every single month for many, many years into something that grows at 10% a year. After 3 years, your total is only going to be around $41,000. But since you have to put in $36,000 into it, your returns may not seem that exciting. But after 30 years, your contribution will be $360,000, which is a lot of money, but your total account will be worth over $2 million. So it's as if you got $1.7 million for free just by investing it. And you can see from the charts, the longer you invest in something, the more it's going to grow. And if you invest long enough, most of the money that's going to grow from is from the fund itself instead of your own contribution. And if you're getting around 10% a year, that tipping point is around year 7, where the interest you make is about the same as what you contribute. Then after that point, you're gonna be making more money from the investment itself than from your contributions. And this growth compounds on itself year after year after year. In fact, my wife and I are in the middle of experiencing this now. We've been investing since we graduated from college. And during the first few years, the growth was pretty slow. But we've been investing for such a long time now that even though we haven't had full-time jobs in 2 years, our net worth has continued to grow because of our investments. And like I mentioned, the biggest factor to seeing how big your portfolio is going to be isn't necessarily how much you invest, but how much time you allow it to compound. So let's say there's 2 friends Richard and Portrait, who start their jobs at age of 22 years old and work until they're 65 years old. Give them 43 years to invest. Now, let's say these guys are equally smart, great at their jobs, and they get the same pay raises and promotions at the exact same time. But to make this interesting, let's say that Richard starts investing right away, right when he graduates from college, and he only contributes for 10 years. Then lets the fund grow by itself. Whereas Portrait thinks that investing is for old people and only starts investing 10 years later, but then he continues to contribute to it until he retires. Now, if both plan on investing $1,000 a month, that means that over the 10 years, Richard is only contributing $120,000 of his own money into the account, whereas Portrait is contributing to his account for 33 years, which is $396,000, which is over 3 times the amount that Richard is putting in. So who do you think is going to have more money in their account by the time they're 65 years old? Very surprisingly, the first guy, Richard, comes out top with over $4.6 million in his account, whereas Portrait only ends up with $2.7 million. Isn't that weird? And in fact, at this rate, Portrait will never catch up to Richard if he only contributes $1,000 a month, because Richard makes more money from his compound interest than Portrait is putting into it. So it's a very interesting way to see how the rich actually get richer. But the big point is to start early. And if you guys want to start investing and growing your net worth, I highly recommend opening a brokerage account with Webull. Webull is a super easy to use platform that lets you buy and sell stocks through your mobile phone. They don't have any transaction fees. And if you use my social link below, they'll even give you free stocks when you make your first account and start investing. The shares that you get are free for you to keep, sell, or do whatever you want with them. And they're a great way to start building your financial future. So sign up with the link and start investing today. Now, I get that everything I said may not sound that easy. And there are going to be times where you're going to be tempted to want to spend that money on something else. But the good news is, there's a way to make this whole process a lot easier, and I'll show you how in just a minute. What I do is automate as much as I can. So if you're working with someone with an HR department, just tell them to set a set amount of money to a different account, which is your investing one or your saving one. Or if your job doesn't do that, you can set a recurring bank transfer from your main checking account into his investment or saving accounts. Now, ideally, you should be saving at least 20% of your income into this investment account. Too little money and your investments really won't be insignificant, and trying to invest too much at one time may have you struggling to actually live. So have 80% of your paycheck go to your checking account where you can pay for your rent, your mortgage, your food, all that other stuff, and then have 20% dedicated to investing. And then once that's all set up, go to your brokerage and tell them to have recurring buy orders for the money that comes in. That way you're always investing money and the money is not being sent to your brokerage as just cash. And then you forget about it. Just don't look at it for many years. Don't be scrolling on your phone and checking the prices every few days, because that's going to cause you a lot of mental strain. Just keep investing, set it, forget it, and in a few years, you're gonna be surprised at how much money you have saved. And even with the ups and downs of the market, when the market's up, you're gonna feel really good that your whole portfolio is up. And when the market's down, just feel good knowing that you're buying more shares with less money. If you start doing this automatically, you're gonna be spending more money on investing instead of buying random garbage, because you're gonna think, oh, my checking account is not too high. I don't have this money to just buy random crap. And by doing this constantly and building this habit, you're gonna feel excited seeing your money grow. And it might even make you want to invest even more money. And trust me, once you start getting some quick wins, you're gonna start to feel really good about yourself, and you're gonna wanna find new ways to grow your net worth. So those first 3 steps were the fundamental building blocks that you need to have in order to generate true wealth. And even though they are consistent, I do get that this does take a lot of time, and you'll probably take decades before you'll see the actual results. So if you wanna become richer sooner and be able to have the energy to actually enjoy your life, you need to pay attention to this 4th way of getting rich, which is to take smart risks. Because working a full-time job will only get you so far. And at some point, you need to take massive action to really do something to boost your net worth to get you to that next level. Now, I came to that realization that I couldn't rely on my job based on the conversations I had with my coworkers who were 20 or 30 years older than me. And even though the pay was decent, they still felt trapped. Like they weren't getting the promotions they thought they deserved. They weren't able to buy simple things like a home within 30 minutes of driving distance from work. And even if you try to go the promotion route and climb up the management ladder, now you just have more work and more overtime and less time to actually enjoy your life and see your family. So I knew that if I wanted to become financially independent, I had to find ways to make money outside of my W-2 job. So I tried different side hustles, like selling products on Amazon, buying rental properties, and even flipping houses. Some of these ventures made me money, some of them lost me money. But every time I did something like this, it built a muscle in my brain and really taught me how businesses were run and how it was actually possible to make good money outside of a job. Now, just because real estate ended up being the way that I achieved financial freedom, it doesn't mean that that's your path. Instead, think about what you're good or passionate about and see if there's a way to monetize something. So for example, one of my friends started a post office business, and they only did it because they took action and tried something new. By taking action, trying different things, and even failing, you'll eventually figure out what you're actually good at, and you will end up doing something that will make you successful. But remember, I'm talking about taking smart risks. So don't go out there just chasing get-rich-quick schemes or investing all of your money into the latest investing trend, such as Beanie Babies, or MLM programs, or even the latest crypto schemes. Anything that promises you quick, fast, easy money is almost a guarantee way of you losing money instead. And honestly, I think even speculative investments like Pokemon cards, Funko Pops, shoes, these are terrible investments for most people. Instead, think of investing or starting good, solid businesses that have proven track records. But here's the thing, even if you do everything we talked about, almost none of that will matter if you surround yourself with the wrong people. So the fifth step to becoming rich is to surround yourself with people who think like you do. There's a famous saying that says, if you hang around 4 millionaires, there's a good chance that you're gonna be the fifth one. But if all of your friends around you are in debt and telling you that it's impossible to become a millionaire or it's impossible to start your own business, then that negativity is gonna seep into your subconscious and it will make you fail. But by surrounding yourself with rich and successful people, your brain's actually going to normalize it and it'll be easier for you to make these power moves. So for example, imagine all your friends just have regular full-time jobs and no one's doing any side hustles. Then starting a business in this environment can be challenging because if you try to start a business, people will be questioning you like, oh, why are you doing this? That's weird. What if your boss finds out? Aren't you worried about getting fired? And when you're starting a business, you're guaranteed to come across some hiccups, some issues. And if you don't have anyone to talk to them about them, or if you don't have any guidance, then how are you going to be able to learn, or what are you going to be able to do? You might get overwhelmed and you might quit too soon. And again, if all of your friends just have regular jobs, you might feel shy about promoting your businesses because maybe that's something that's just not done in your community. So instead, try to find communities that help you feel empowered, where people believe in you and they can give you the guidance they need to help you get to where you want to be. So for me, that meant joining real estate investing groups in the Bay Area. The people in that group were incredibly supportive. They all had similar goals and dreams as I did, and they were willing to share some ideas. And when you start hanging around with people who all believe this is possible, then you start believing in it too. And it makes it a lot easier to turn your dreams into a reality. Now, these are the exact steps that I took to become rich. I defined what being rich meant to me. I started investing early and took full advantage of compound interest, and I relied on my discipline to stay on track. Then I set things up to run automatically. So now I don't have to worry about getting distracted or losing focus and spending my money on some random crap. Now, once I had my base set up, that's when I started to take risks. I started investing some of my excess funds into different projects, like my Amazon store or investing in real estate. And even when I failed, I learned valuable lessons that I applied to my future businesses. And then most importantly, I surrounded myself with the right people. And in fact, the most important person that I surround myself every single day with is my wife. Having a supportive spouse that also shares your values will make a huge difference in your financial future. So now it's your turn. Take the steps that I outlined in this video and chart your own course for financial freedom. You already have everything you need to make this happen. Just stay focused and trust the process. You got this. And if you guys got this far and you want to learn how to make your first $1 million, then definitely check out this video over here. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.